Oh, hello.
Welcome to Stayfhomekins.
Welcome to Stayfhomekins. My name is Paul F. Tompkins.
My name is Janie Haddad Tompkins.
She's an actress.
He is a comedian.
We are a married couple living in Los Angeles.
With our windows open, so sorry for the extra noise.
But you hear the sounds of the neighborhood.
The
It's like a
neighborhood.
Clifford Odets play.
It's like a kitchen sink drama.
I'm having some municipal champagne.
That's tap water, y'all. We started this podcast from lockdown time.
Whole history.
We did it in lockdown.
We're doing it now.
We're still, I don't know what the world is. We're still in this weird limbo.
Yeah, it's true.
We're in pandemic gimbo.
Okay.
Pandemic-gurgatory.
Pandurgatory.
Pandurgatory.
We're in Pandurgatory right now,
This is
guys.
your Pandurgatory podcast.
Quarantimbo.
Pandurgatory.
Pandurgatory.
We're just, I don't know, waiting for this goddamn virus to go away.
Right?
I guess it doesn't do that. We still have viruses.
We still have viruses, yeah. Mm-hmm. But look, we got our vaccines.
We're fortunate.
We're very fortunate. We got to go to dinner at a restaurant with friends on Monday.
For the first time in 14 months or 15. I don't know.
Yeah. I have not been.
Ugh, boy,
I have not eaten at a restaurant since the quarantine.
Yeah, you haven't. Now, I have done the parking lot thing with our bubble, like our neighbor bubble or whatever.
Pod.
Outside, yeah. But that was just for like breakfast.
Yeah.
And that was only like a couple.
At least COVID time of day.
It's like, well, it's definitely less crowded and people aren't drunk and getting in your face or whatever. Yeah. And that was only a handful of times. I don't really count it.
No, and it was like reasonably safe, you know. But it was really, forgive me, I'm so sorry. I'm tired. I did not sleep well last night.
Paul's been suffering
This is 2 weeks in a row
from some sleep disruptions that we're going to get checked out by the doctor next week.
Yes. Yeah.
No, don't be alarmed, guys. It's a normal thing to do.
Yeah.
If you have
I'm not a
access.
freak. How dare you?
We're fortunate. Oh, our neighbors are talking in our window.
What if we overhear a murder?
Maybe we would get more listeners.
Rear window, but a podcast.
Rear podcast.
Rear podcast. Not pod window.
Good point. I don't know. I like wordplay, guys. It's a thing.
Fun.
I do like wordplay.
It's fun. We've done 2 word plays already since we've been here.
I know. That's the problem. Anyway, Paul's dragging ass.
You know what? There's no better way to put it. I am dragging ass. So a couple nights ago, I had the worst sleep of my life since I've been a baby.
We should mention it was the night after we went out to dinner.
Yeah, it was.
So we were like, did you get
Yes,
sick?
not the night. Not when we got...
It was the next night.
Yeah, the next night.
But you were still feeling a little weird after dinner, and we overindulged. That was the problem.
Yeah.
And then I was like, did you get a food poisoning?
Did you get a food poisoning? And I responded, no, I did not.
So he was feeling weird, but allergies are also a situation going on.
I wondered if it was allergies.
So then, so the night after tell us about the worst night since the baby.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh!
This is how bad
I wish we
it
could
is.
fix it in post.
If only there was
This
such
is
a
some
thing.
bullshit.
I was tossing and turning constantly. I feel like I would fall asleep for... I feel like I was waking up every half hour.
It was.
That's what it felt like.
Not that it was my problem, but let's just say it was also my problem.
It became your problem, sure.
Because we're a married couple. Did we mention that?
We did mention that.
We share a bed.
But we didn't mention that we share a bed. We do. We're not in black and white.
Paul was thrashing.
Yeah.
He was thrashing around. Oh, it was a fucking nightmare.
It was so bad.
And literally, I was like, okay, he would thrash around and then be still for like a second. But you were also like whimpering and making noises.
I was miserable.
But
Every time I woke up, I was like, ugh.
So then I became like frozen because I was like,
She thought I was turning into a werewolf.
If I move, like maybe he's falling asleep now, and if I move around now, this is going to. We don't have like, what is the thing, the sleep number where you don't.
You can put a glass of wine on the bed and jump up and down. Weirdos. I'm not going to do that.
I like my wine on a table. Thank you very much.
I like to put my wine on the bare bed.
And jump like a fucking. I'm drinking my weekend water. Now. Anyway,
I was hot. I was like sweating.
By the way, I took it. I was like, "Oh my god, did you get a breakthrough
this
COVID
is the next
case?"
Day. Yeah.
No, the night before. I did take it. I took your
the night before, but not. Just so it's not the night that this was happening.
The evening before his worst night of sleep since he was a baby was. I was like, "You seem strange." And I hope you don't have a breakthrough COVID.
It was the next morning. It was
I swear
after
to
I woke
God,
up from that sleep.
I thought it was the evening before.
No.
Because I brought the temperature and the oximeter.
No, because there was no need to test those things until that horrible night of sleep.
All I know is you did not have a fever and you did not have low blood oxygen. You also did not, you still had your taste and smell. You still didn't,
yes.
There was no, because I was like.
I could smell sleep. I could taste it, but I just couldn't have it.
Because you had gone to the grocery store the week before.
Yes.
And so we were like, oh my God. But everyone's masked there and you were masked.
Everyone's masked. I was vaccinated. It's like
But people get the breakthrough.
I know, but the odds of it happening in that way. Mm-hmm. I did not have any prolonged contact with anyone. So I was tossing and turning, and I kept waking up. And what was really weird was, I was like half in and out of a sleep state where I had this idea for a movie.
Okay.
And every time I woke up, I would come back and add more to it.
Did you write it all down?
No, but I remember it.
Well,
it's not very good.
Oh, it's not? Shit. Are you sure?
Yeah, I detailed it on an episode of Stop Podcasting Yourself, which is coming out, I think maybe next week or the week after.
God.
Hi, Cuckoo.
Cuckoo, welcome to the fucking party.
QQ. Did you call her QQ?
No, but I will.
Okay.
QQ, welcome to the fucking party.
But I was so mad because I didn't want to be thinking about that. It wasn't fun. You know what I mean? I wasn't like enjoying it like, oh, I'm having fun thinking of this weird idea. It was like, I don't want to... It was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore to my brain. And I couldn't stop. And I would try to think of other things and I couldn't do it.
You know what they say, like if you have insomnia like that, they basically say just get up.
Right.
Like get up and like go do something to like disrupt and then reset.
I don't know if I've ever heard that before. I wonder if that would have helped.
I don't know, because I was wondering if it was insomnia or something else was going on with you.
But I wasn't necessarily wide awake. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I kept falling in and out of sleep.
Yes.
If I were wide awake, I could see getting up. Yeah. Which is what I should have done last night.
I've had like that middle of the night insomnia where I feel wide awake in the middle after like a partial sleep. Which is, I have like a 2 sleep. Is this boring for the podcast? I'm just saying, like, there was a thing that came out kind of in recent years where they discovered that people normally have a 2-segment sleep. Like that's a normal, like evolutionary, something that's baked in.
David Bowie taught me it was okay to have a 2-segment sleep.
And I am very much like, I do have like a 2-segment. There's 2 phases to mine. But like if
Let's go through those phases, honey.
If I get up and I wake up wide awake, I will take a little stroll around the house.
Is that true?
Oh yeah, I'll have some water in the kitchen. I'll look out in the window. I like to look out the window
while I'm sleeping in the bed.
Yeah,
I had no idea you were doing this.
Yeah,
your somnambulistic adventures.
Anyway, guys, welcome to the party. This is us we have
welcome to the party,
all
darlings.
kinds of problems, and we talk about the problems. And so,
what a pitch for a podcast.
You know,
we have all kinds of problems, and we talk about them.
It's just like, this is what it is.
Oh, and
this
just
is
so you
what
know,
it is.
before you listen any further, in case you're wondering, no, none of the problems ever get solved. But speaking of resolutions,
we do have to wrap
resolutions
it
to a couple stories.
A couple?
Well, they're related to each other, but they turned out to be separate stories.
I want to ask you a question about what all are we allowed to share about the resolution? Like, are you going to share every detail?
Not names. We don't need to
The names
share
are
names.
changed to protect the innocent.
That's right. That's right.
Don't. Clonk, clonk.
Previously, stayfhomekins.
Don't.
Are you doing the Law and Order?
Yeah.
Sound? Gong gong.
Oh, gong,
I
gong.
think I have it on my phone.
Gong, gong. Gong, gong.
Let me see if I have it on my phone.
Gong, gong.
I can't even.
He looked at his phone.
Look,
y'all.
I do have it on my phone. I'm not going to look.
Y'all know what it is.
My eyes glazed over as soon as I looked at the screen.
Oh my God, y'all. Okay.
Oh my God, y'all. So
all right,
last week,
so we told the story
we told the
last
story
week.
of Jerry, the prank
Fucking
caller.
Jerry.
Okay. Was he a prank caller? Was he an angry neighbor? Was he a stalker? Because we saw someone. Here's what happened. Look at the sequence of events.
Cliff notes.
Earlier in the day, we saw someone walk past our house aiming their camera phone at our house. They were in the middle of the street. Some tall, lanky white guy, boring old white guy with a baseball hat and some shorts.
And man, I mean, he did look like a paparazzo.
I honestly think paparazzi look cooler than that.
All I know is I ran to put some lipstick on because I was like, if I'm going to be on the internet, I may as well look a little bit more presentable.
If this is going to be plastered all over Getty Images. So
just kidding. I was just like, who's that guy?
we see that guy and we think, that's weird. Then about a half hour later, I get a phone call on my cell phone from some guy claiming to be a neighbor, said his name was Jerry, and was accusing Janie and I of having let our dog shit in front of his property.
Guess
Now,
what, guys?
we don't have a dog.
We don't have.
And this
we
is what
famously don't.
We famously don't have it. It's the one thing people. If you were to ask people, do you know Paul and Janie? They would probably say
they don't have a dog.
The ones without a dog.
They like famously don't have a dog.
They famously don't. So I am saying to Jerry, we don't have a dog. And he's saying condescendingly, just pick up after your dog. And so I'm getting increasingly upset. This is going back and forth. I'm screaming. I hang up. Okay. I want to give you this detail. The end of the first call was,
right.
I'm outside now because Jerry had proposed going outside. I went outside. Then Jerry didn't want to go outside. And, the neighbor's dog started barking. And then Jerry said, oh, you don't have a dog? Then what's that I hear in the background? And I said, that's the neighbor's dogs. And he said, oh, maybe it was them. And I said, you fucking idiot. And I said, don't call her again. And I hung up.
Yeah.
So then 10 minutes later, he calls back.
He fucking called back.
And I'm like, what do you want? And now he's being very provocative with me. And I'm like, okay, this is suspicious, fishy.
Even fishier and fishier.
Yeah. And then he goes too far and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. This is a prank. And he sort of lets the mask drop a little bit. I said, did you get what you wanted? And he said, yeah. And so I hung up and blocked the number. So then Janie and I were trying to figure out, was this a prank call?
Yeah.
Or was it the guy that we saw videoing the house? And Janie was throwing all kinds of stuff at me. And I was saying, no, I don't think so. And here's why. I think it was just a prank call.
Yeah. It was there was a lot of mystery surrounding it.
Oh, so mysterious.
And there were a lot
of chills.
There were a lot of like factors that confused the narrative.
Yeah, but not for me.
Well, no. Also, you were on the receiving, and one of our listeners, I think on Twitter or Instagram, I can't remember, did point out, or maybe it was even email, did point out that you had he didn't use these words, but that you had the privilege of hearing the person.
Yes, which I also tried to tell you.
No, I knew that you had the privilege of hearing the person, but I didn't know if like, to me, it was plausible there was a neighbor that could be just as nuts.
Absolutely.
That we didn't know about.
Absolutely. But this did not sound like a nuts neighbor. This sounded like an annoying person. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It didn't sound like, oh, this guy's out of his mind.
Yeah.
That can be entertaining.
Right.
You know?
Can it?
Sometimes. It depends how the distance. So then I get a call a few days. So I posted about it on Twitter. So we talk about it on the podcast. I posted about it on Twitter.
Yeah, we talk about it online.
A couple days later, I get a call from a comedian friend of mine. This is not somebody we talk on the phone. You know,
this is someone we've known for a long time.
I haven't seen him in a long time, actually. And he said, "Hey, did you get a prank call from somebody recently?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "That guy called me too. And I have been calling him back and talking with him."
That's probably going to out who the comedian is in a weird way. But it's okay.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Also, he might not care.
Yeah. No, he won't. I just don't. It's
just not even important to the story.
So he's telling me, yeah, this guy, he has some sort of internet show where he throws these calls up and then he takes them down when he's threatened with legal action.
Right, because it's not legal.
Did you hear that?
Was it like a siren or like a car skidding?
I think it was a crazy animal noise.
Was it?
Yeah.
Guys, we have the windows open, y'all. This is unprecedented.
Y'all, we got the windows open.
It's just a very brisk little evening. And so we needed to let it.
We're drinking brisk iced tea.
Anyway, so we got confirmation that it was some rando.
Yes.
But it was not a neighbor. But it coincidentally coincided with a couple of details, one of which I was talking on the patio, on the front porch to my neighbor, or like right before an hour before this happened, who happened to have the kind of dogs he referenced.
Right.
And I was petting them.
Right.
And then we saw the guy videoing our house. And then I don't know, like it just like, it was easy to put, like kind of link together.
But it didn't make any sense.
None of it made sense at all. None of it made sense at all.
And Chihuahua is a very
common dog, especially in Los Angeles, because we live in a very dense urban place and people like the smaller dogs.
They like the smaller dogs.
Because it's just like apartment living or
and
whatever.
Chihuahuas, frankly, they're all over the place. So then just today, because we were still trying to figure out, well, what about that guy who was taking pictures of our house?
Oh, yeah. Well, it actually happened yesterday. I think I just told you today.
Oh, great. Maybe you whispered in my ear while you were walking around the house.
I get a text message on my phone from a real estate agent asking me to name my price. Guys, my price is millions of dollars in cash.
Yes, millions.
But really, my price was, I just blocked that number. But like, obviously, there's like zero inventory in our zip code.
Yeah.
And
it's a little neighborhood and it's all full. It's
full. There's also like a housing shortage. And
there's also that.
But anyway, but obviously that guy was just like gathering information for like trying to get people to move.
Yeah. So we think that's what this was.
It was a series of coincidences that got exacerbated.
Right.
By the guy.
Now we have
people really enjoyed this story, and that was the closure. And guess what? It's super like boring.
It was a real Occam's razor story.
Oh, and also, didn't your comedian friend tell you like he's a fan?
Yeah, he said that the guy was a fan of mine. And I guess he thinks this is how he does comedy. Oh, so here's why. So he got
to do a bit with his favorite comedian.
Here's why I mentioned the end of the first phone call.
End of the first call.
Is the thing that's most upsetting to me is that this guy doesn't have any sense of timing.
Comedy, yeah.
Because absolutely the end of the bit is him saying, "Oh, maybe it was the neighbor's dog." Yes. That's your out. That's perfect.
Like the guy.
It's a perfect button.
But this guy, he was so like that's why I feel like your comedian friend should not be calling him back to reverse harass him the way he's doing.
Right.
Because didn't you say that he was like, I'm going to call you at 3:00 on Christmas Eve. I'm going to make your life like a living hell.
He never said, I'm going to make your life a living hell.
Well, but that's like his, like he wants to wear him down.
Right.
But
like, obviously the guy loves it.
That's my point, is that all this guy wants to do is engage with his favorite comedian.
In the worst ways possible.
Yeah, and like fancies himself as like a Borat or something. He thought he pulled like a real Rudy Giuliani over on you.
Yeah.
Like he like a real gotcha.
He's going to get me canceled. I don't like when people say I have a dog when I don't have a dog.
Well, anyway, that is what it was just really annoying. And like, okay, like he's a fan, fine. Like I saw the movie Misery. We're supposed to be cautious about people, but like I feel like the modern Misery is just annoyance. Like his whole misery is he's going to...
Well, I disagree.
Like pound you down that you have a dog.
I disagree. I think they're two separate things. I don't think it's an evolution of one thing. I think that Misery, which, by the way, we must remind people is not a documentary. Misery is...
It's a Stephen King movie.
But it's about a stalker. You know, it's about somebody who's
a fan.
Yes. Who has a parasocial relationship with somebody and thinks they know them, and, you know, and those kind of people do exist. Like there are celebrities that are horribly haunted by... Yeah. They're haunted by stalkers and people that won't leave them alone. And these are people that are severely damaged and think that they know the person, and they fabricate a whole life that they have with them. Didn't you meet somebody who like had a picture of some model in his hat or something?
Yeah.
Like was that an audition?
No. Oh no. It was at a medical situation.
Oh, okay.
I met Naomi Campbell's stalker.
Right.
Was it Naomi Campbell?
I think it was Naomi Campbell, yeah.
And I met him, and I actually found who he was online, you know. So guys, this is fun. I've had a history of gastrointestinal afflictions. And when I was my sickest in 2013, I was getting like a really full workup by this my GI doctor, who I love. Like he's changed my life. Okay. And so one of the diagnostic tests, and when you have GI, like it is such a mysterious thing because your GI is only second in mystery to the brain. Like, you know.
Do you know why I think it's so weird? Because it's all twisted up down there. It's just like dropped in there.
It's like
what a mess.
It's just in there. I mean, there's like a lot of connections to other things, like your brain.
Ugh,
so like also like your brain like produces serotonin. That's like a depressive thing, but the lining of your gut is fucking full of serotonin. So you tell me that's not connected and stuff. Anyway, I'm no doctor, but I do know that I had to get so many diagnostic tests. And one of the diagnostic tests at the time, which was the gold standard for this particular diagnosis I have, which I don't even think they do this test as much anymore, because if they think you have it, they just give you the medicine. But like, they need to measure if you're growing too much bacteria. And so they make you drink this sugar and sit in a waiting room for 2 hours. And every 15 minutes, they have you breathe into a plastic bag. And if you're producing too much sugar, then they know that you've got an overgrowth. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's like a 2.5 hour test.
Wow.
And so there's like 8 people. They do it in like a group. So like if you're like the 10 a.m. group or the 2 p.m. group or whatever. So you go and you drink this sugar, and then you just fucking sit there. And then every 15 minutes, somebody comes, and then you breathe into a balloon, and then they test what you're producing, what your gut's producing. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I was just in this waiting room for 2.5 hours with like 8 people. It was like I was on a jury or something. You know what I mean? Like I was like, like we were all like just like a group of just random, diverse strangers with all kinds of gastrointestinal issues. And this guy who kind of looks like the actor Fisher Stevens, but it wasn't him. And he was like wearing this like fedora and like, so we're all just like chatting, small talky. And then he started saying how he was like Naomi Campbell's, like they're close, and he had a picture of her in the rim inside of his hat, and he pulled off his hat and like showed everyone. And, at that point you're just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, 'cause like you could kind of tell from the way he was presenting it that it felt fantastical.
Right.
Not that she couldn't be with whoever she wants to be, but
we're not trying to limit Naomi Campbell.
Exactly. But my point is that he was not connected to Naomi Campbell. Like,
and you could tell.
He was fixated on it.
Yeah.
He had a fixation on Naomi Campbell.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to relate in that situation. Yeah. But the one thing I learned in one of my retail jobs was that, because I worked in a mall where I was like in Hollywood, where there's like a lot of, stuff going on. And one of the security like seminars that we had to work there was basically like the way the media portrays stalking is like it's celebrity fixated.
Yep.
But that's not the reality. The reality is that anybody, like your cousin, your neighbor, your friend, your whoever you run into at the DMV, anybody can have a stalker. Like that is basically a certain type of crime that happens because of, I think, like a obsession, like an obsessive situation. It's not about
people only think it's celebrities because that's the only time it gets reported.
News. Yeah. And so I don't know. Like I don't know if anyone else. This should be a recommendation, I guess, but I'm just mentioning it now. But like, I love the Gavin DeBecker book, The Gift of Fear, for a lot of reasons, because it talks about like, I like to apply it to social media, but I'm really the worst person to do that. But basically, to engage is to enrage. And like your friend who is calling him back is basically, that is not like, if Gavin DeBecker were handling that situation, his whole thing would be
But again, it's not. I don't think that's a stalker situation.
It's not a stalker situation, but you just never fucking know. I mean,
also true. That's also true.
You know, like people could go chances. Like, yeah. But I don't know. Like, I think The Gift of Fear is a great thing to read, also because I like to apply it for certain toxic personalities in my life that I've had over the years, even though that's not what the book really focuses on. But yeah. I don't know. Do you guys remember Gavin DeBecker? He was like on Oprah.
I remember.
Like, never allow yourself to be taken to the second location and all of that stuff. And I don't know, whatever. You guys know what to do. You know what to do.
Get those keys in between your fingers.
You know what to do.
You know what to do. Build a panic room in your house.
The only reason you answered the phone is because the guy called twice in a row and you thought it could have been business related, because it was not a covered number.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a local area number. Code that was local enough.
Yes. And I saw it. I was like, I send everything to voicemail. Unless it's somebody I know.
Of course, darling. Don't we all?
I send simply everything to voicemail. Like, my tolerance for talking on the phone is vanished. It's really weird. I used to love talking on the phone.
Oh my God, I loved it.
I
talk on the phone. You know, like John Hodgman likes to call me just to,
he likes to talk on the phone.
He calls me all the time. Yeah. Like if I like one of his tweets, my phone rings. And then I had to be like, hang on, let me get my earbuds, blah, 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 blah. You know, he loves a fucking, but you know why? He drives a lot.
Yeah.
I used to talk on the phone more because I used to drive a lot. And because the pandemic happened, I don't drive that much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I used to talk to John when I was in the car, that we would have conversations. We were both in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would call my mom if I'm in traffic, like I'm coming home from Santa Monica from a fucking Friday afternoon audition, which is literally the worst, and I'd kill for again because we've been deprived of it. If I were in the traffic for like 90 minutes, which is normal.
Yep.
That's when I call my mom and I just be like, hey, you got to talk to me because I'm stuck in traffic. So you have to talk to me while I'm driving.
You have a nice relationship with your mom, and it makes me very happy.
Oh, you know what? It's Mother's Day.
Oh, shit. Mother's Day is coming
on
up.
Sunday. Thank you for saying that, because I am close with my mom, and that is like something that I learned as I've gotten older that is not the case for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I don't like to flaunt that. Like I don't like to.
Yeah, absolutely. People have varying relationships with their parents.
Because I want to be sensitive to people who've had difficult,
of course,
parents and stuff. But that was never. Even though I will say I had a difficult childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have difficult parents.
Right.
So what is funny?
That's about all you can ask for.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my childhood was fraught with a lot of uncertainty and chaos and change, and like neglect is not the right word, but we were very expected to be. We were latchkey kids and broken home, blah 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 blah. Boo hoo! I get it. I get it. This is why I don't talk about this. I don't particularly like to talk about it because it sounds very what would you call that? Like privileged or something?
No, what do you mean? Well,
I have problems talking about my childhood adversity. My childhood adversity, because it doesn't feel it doesn't feel on paper. I wouldn't be on Oprah for this. You know what I'm saying? Like Oprah would not ask me to sit on her chair in her chair because of the particular complexities of my family life and upbringing.
Yeah.
However, for me personally, and I do a lot of work on it internally and don't share it, but maybe people like this. I don't know.
Well, it's relatable.
What do you want to talk about?
I think it's relatable. I want to talk about how we have to take a break. Because we do. And we'll be right back.
Oh, we have some good sponsors. This episode, we are so excited to be sponsored by the most wonderful, exquisite, small business, Rare Tea Cellars. That's CELLARS, like underground cellars.
It's half of the most beautiful phrase in the English language, cellar door.
Cellar door. Is that true?
You never heard that?
No.
We don't have time.
Okay. Here's what's so exciting about Rare Tea Cellars that are based in Chicago, but it is a worldwide business because of their online store at rareteacellars.com. They are fans of the show. Mm-hmm. You may have also heard them advertised on our friends' podcast, Ask Rana and Brian. They're fans of Rana and Brian. They have an exquisite store for gift giving and the foodie in you. They provide gourmet tea and ingredients like truffles, caviar, fresh produce, specialty rare items. And they've been written up in Forbes. They've been written up in the Wall Street Journal. They supply a lot of very famous restaurants like around the world. They basically have gone all around the world. Rod, who's the owner, and he's a master tea blender. He finds these amazing teas, and they have quality, organic, and sustainably harvested teas and ingredients. They find the rarest things, and they figure out how to stock them in Chicago, and they will ship them to you.
Here's what happens. This guy, Rod,
Kim. He's married to Kim, Kevin, David, Jared, Tim. This
Kim,
group of people,
Kevin,
Brian.
David, Jared, Tim. They go all around the world like a bunch of Lisa Stansfield.
They go around.
They get all the tea, and then they bring it back, and then they send it to you.
And you don't want to spill this tea. You want to drink.
This tea is not to be spilled.
You don't want to spill it. You want to drink it. They have some of their most popular teas: Crema, Earl Grey, Lychee Noir, Italian Green Almondine, Forbidden Forest Lapsang Souchong, Gingerbread Dream Rubios, Georgia Peach Rubios, Lemon Berry Meritage, 2012 Vintage Hot Chocolate Pu'er, Sencha, Freak of Nature Oolong. This is just a sampling of these teas.
It's the tip of the tea bird.
They have a great house teapot with a built-in strainer.
It's short and stout.
They also carry a line of Italian honeys called Mielitune. They move the beehives around to pollinate different flowers at different times of the year to give the honey unique, natural, and authentic flavors. This is what I'm talking about. This is an artisanal group of entrepreneurs who have put together these exquisite things that you can consume. They're perfect for Mother's Day coming up, and they're perfect for graduations, business, corporate gifts.
Father's Day.
You've got Father's Day in June. You've got
graduation.
You know, like lots of people who have birthdays and all
birthdays, anniversaries,
and also treat yourselves.
And for you, please, we just want you to like yourself.
We're so excited because we're actually getting a box sent to us right now.
Man,
I cannot
I'm not
wait.
a huge tea drinker.
I love tea.
Janie loves tea.
I love coffee.
Tea.
I love tea.
Every once in a while, when I do have a cup of tea, it's nice.
It's so lovely. Yeah. So we're very excited, and we're so excited that they have hopped on board the Stay at Homekins train. So go to rareteasellers.com, and here's the exciting part. If you use the code Homekins, you will get 20% off any items in the store.
Bam.
It's a one-time use, and it's case sensitive. So it's capital H, lowercase Homekins.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cute.
Homekins, capital H, lowercase Homekins.
As if you were writing us a formal letter.
Yes. So please support small businesses, guys. Please. We're all in this together.
Oh, great. Hot.
This episode is also brought to you by Public Goods, the one-stop shop for sustainable, high-quality, everyday essentials made from clean ingredients at an affordable price. Everything from coffee to toilet paper and shampoo to pet food. Public Goods is your new everything store, thoughtfully designed for the conscious consumer.
Like me.
So basically, we have tried some Public Goods, and it was very exciting to receive some of the products because they come in sort of like this very simplified packaging.
Yeah, I like the packaging.
Looks like kind of cool and insanely
like old school generic,
but with like a really cool font. I want to put the hand soap in the guest room because I think it would look really cool and like show their faces in it. So rather than buying from a bunch of single product brands, Public Goods members can buy all their premium essentials in one place with one beautiful streamlined aesthetic. Okay. They search the globe. Everyone's searching the globe except for us.
We got to search that globe. To
find clean, healthy, eco-friendly, and innovative products. They ethically source and obsessive in a good way. It's not a Gavin DeBecker thing. Could develop each of their products to be free of unhealthy ingredients and harmful additives, still common on drug and grocery store shelves. They're committed to make the products healthy, safe for humans. They want you to know where their products come from, and small changes in the way we shop can make a big impact on personal health and the world at large. Okay. So you can also make your first purchase with no obligation. And this is the sweet part.
I can't wait.
They plant one tree for every order placed and incorporate sustainability into every part of the company. Okay. So for our listeners, you can get $15 off your first Public Goods order with no minimum purchase. So go to publicgoods.com/homekins and use or just use code HOMEKINS at checkout. So that's PUBLICGOODS.com/HOMEKINS for $15 off your first order.
This episode is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Magic. They make cereal. Magic Spoon makes cereal. If you eat the cereal, will you be burned at the stake? No. Those days are over. Now we love magic. Magic and science, the two best friends. They give us things. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. God, the other part? School. But look, I don't do either of those things anymore. School, cereal or school. But then, you know what? Magic Spoon came along and made a cereal that is not full of garbage. We're all trying to eat better. Healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring, and Magic Spoon knows this. They have amazing flavors that we love, but without all the bad stuff. We're talking 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, GMO-free, and low carb. And Magic Spoon has given us some exciting news. Thank you, Magic Spoon! They've released a super delicious new flavor, birthday cake. Birthday cake, Magic Spoon. Are you kidding me? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear cereal. Happy birthday to you. Magic Spoon, birthday cake Magic Spoon will be available in a special 5-pack for a limited time only. So get it while you can. Or build your own box. Ooh, that's a martini being shaken in the background. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are
Make a cereal martini.
I was just getting to the custom bundle, honey. Garnish a martini with a Magic Spoon. There's no law against it. Here's the stuff you can use to make your own custom bundle, okay? Cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, my personal fave, and cinnamon. Take the cinnamon challenge. Enjoy this cereal. If you're listening from Canada, first of all, I love you. Secondly, Magic Spoon now ships there as well. Here is your call to action. Here's what I want you all to do. Go to magicspoon.com/homekins to grab the new limited edition birthday cake or a custom bundle of cereal to try out today. And be sure to use our promo code HOMEKINS at checkout to save $5 off your order. This offer is now good anywhere in the U.S. or for my friends up in Canada, but only when you use our code at checkout. Only then! And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. That's a big turn on. It is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. They don't care why you don't like it. They know that you've made a mistake and that you have to live with that. Magic Spoon, I'm just kidding around. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/homekins and use the code HOMEKINS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you, Magic Spoon.
Welcome back.
I don't know about this episode. It doesn't have a cohesion. There's no cohesion.
I mean, have you listened to the show?
I don't know.
It just goes where it goes, baby. That's what it is.
It's meandering. It's stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
It's absurdist.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
It's a slice of life.
It's a fucking slice of life.
It's background noise. You're doing your dishes. It's like people are talking in the next room and you're eavesdropping. It's great.
So Paul and I did a thing last night. Paul's looking at me like, we did something last night?
I honestly don't remember.
Well, a friend of ours had us on her talk show. And we wanted to share our episode, which is free. Mm-hmm. Do you guys know there's this website called YouTube? Have you heard of that one? What? What is it? It's like a thing. There's like videos?
So that's a video. That's a
video portal.
It's like a video portal. If you have a video of a little British child biting a finger, then you send it there. Is that correct?
Charlie bit my finger. Is that good?
Wait till you see what Charlie looks like now.
YouTube, y'all. Go to Studio C ampersand C. Studio C as in cat.
Okay. I didn't know there was more.
Studio C as in cat and C as in cat.
Like the CNC Music Factory, but studio instead.
Studio C and C, but ampersand for...
That ampersand is key.
Okay, so basically, this is their channel. Please subscribe. They interviewed us for an hour last night. We totally forgot that Paul and I were in an episode of Bajillion Dollar Properties together because they're like, send us like a video.
So, a little background. This is our old friend, Chrissy Guerrero, and her partner, Claudia Dolph. They host the show together. And so they usually do a live variety show, but since the pandemic, they've been doing an online show where they have conversations with people. Yeah. And so they asked us to be on it.
We zoomed with it. Yeah.
And they asked, do you have any footage of you guys together?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think we do.
We did not. We were like, we could make
maybe some birthday videos we've made for people.
Honestly, I was like, Paul, we're gonna have to make a video to
like a fake shoot,
like a selfie or something. Like, hi, I'm Janie, I'm Paul. We have a podcast.
But then I don't know what made me remember, but we were on Bajillion Dollar Properties together
on that episode together.
Yeah.
I got to do a little guest slot on it, and I had totally spaced on that as well.
Yeah.
And then you pulled it up and they show it on the show and we talk about it and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like an hour-long show and it's really fun. And Chrissy's awesome. She's an amazing singer and performer.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. If you like this show, then you will like that show.
Right, because it's wholesome. It's like, it's not.
We're just chatting and talking about this, that, and the other thing. And they do a great job keeping the conversation going. And it was fun. It was nice. It was great to see Chrissy again. I hadn't seen her in such a long time.
Yeah, so we just also wanted to share that with the listeners so that you could go to YouTube and find it.
Yes.
Also, our faces are on there in case you don't know what we look like.
That's a good point. Do you remember that guy in Charleston? When I was doing the show, I was doing a show at Theater 99 in Charleston.
Shout out Theater 99. We love y'all.
Love Theater 99.
Charleston, South Carolina. My old friend Greg Tavares went to University of South Carolina together. He started the theater. Got to support those guys.
Yeah. They're still there.
They're improv theater and they're going okay.
Yeah,
they're hanging in.
They were doing remote shows during the pandemic, and I think
you could rent out their theater for little groups during the
to watch shows,
like to do events and stuff like that, like in your pod,
right?
You know how they you could do
yeah.
But I think they're back.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think they're back.
Yeah, I think they're back.
Like according to Instagram, and I was very happy to see that.
I'm on his mailing list.
A lot of places didn't make it out, and I'm glad that they did. And
me too, because because Greg has been dedicated to live theater ever since college. I've been so impressed with him opening that space in Charleston and bringing comedy to that small city. And anyway,
and it's a great space.
We were there in Charleston, and you were.
So I got there before the doors opened.
Okay.
I wanted to get there early and, just kind of hang back and acclimate myself to the space and everything. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been the first time I was there.
Okay.
And I was standing at the door. It was locked. And then I was waiting to be let in, and then a line started forming behind me.
Uh-huh.
And the first two people behind me were asking, like, "Oh, is it locked? They haven't opened the doors yet?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Thank you for coming to the show."
Uh-huh.
And the guy said, "Oh, do you work here?" And I said, "No, I'm doing the show."
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Oh, well, he said, I've only ever, this is my wife, we're both big fans. I have no idea what you look like." And she has face blindness.
Face blindness is a real thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have little momentary face blindnesses. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had that?
Do you know who I had it with for the longest time?
Okay.
Was Robin Wright. I could not.
Who's that?
Robin Wright, the actress.
What?
I could not recognize her. I would see her in something.
I have it with an actress.
Every time I'd be like, who is this?
I have it with a blonde actress. Also.
Okay, who is it?
Sienna Miller.
Sure.
For some reason, I have total
I'm now picturing Naomi Watts.
I can't picture anything except her character in that Roger Ailes thing. And she was all done up like Roger Ailes' wife. Did y'all watch that?
Roger Ailes' wife in that thing?
Oh, yeah. And by the way, she was doing like a Minnesota accent and it was pretty fucking good. Mm. Like, I think Sienna Miller might be a really good actress who is overlooked because everyone has face blindness on her. I don't know because I've only maybe seen her in that thing. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. I watched this Roger Ailes thing, y'all. It was on Showtime. Don't hate. This is one
with Russell Crowe, right?
Here's the thing. I'll watch just about any old trash on TV. Number one, it was a Thomas McCarthy, who I think is a terrific writer, and I respect his work.
Yeah.
So he was sort of behind it. Number two, I love a good... It's not a thing anymore, because TV movies from our childhood where they'll be like, oh, it's the real story of this or the real story of that. They're now limited series. Like that is like a thing now. Like it's just like, so there was this limited series on Showtime. It was like about Roger Ailes, who I knew nothing about because I don't watch Fox News. And, and so I was like, I'll watch this thing. And I had no opinion of Russell Crowe. Clearly he's a huge movie star. Like, clearly, like
we can't pretend that he's not.
Like he's like major and like, but I just never had any. I don't know. Like I just never thought about him. Like the kinds of movies he's in are not even like movies I like necessarily.
You didn't think he was great in Les Mis?
I mostly was he in LA Confidential?
Yes, he was. He was great in that.
Okay, yeah. So that movie I liked. I thought LA Confidential was really good. Mm-hmm. That might be a watch along.
Maybe, although it's kind of grim.
We just put out a watch along, y'all. Malice.
For Malice, yeah.
All of our watch along fans already know that, though. They're already on top of that shit. Anyway, so basically,
I just want to welcome everyone to the podcast that was here for the watch alongs and they didn't know we did a podcast as well.
So anyway, he does this Roger Ailes thing where they like totally pat him up and put jowls on him or whatever. And I was so fucking impressed with his performance. Now, keep in mind, I don't know who Roger Ailes is.
Well, you kind of know.
But I don't know if he nailed it. Does that make sense?
Oh, you mean like, is this a great Roger Ailes impression?
My feeling was it almost didn't matter because
no, it's not at all.
He put in like so much of this like creepy heaviness in his performance that I got what they were trying to convey, which was that this guy was a real weirdo, and he totally was though.
He was a monstrous creep.
He also was like groping on the ladies, and he was like, oh, you know what was kind of the grossest thing about that I appreciated about the story, the Showtime limited series about, it's called The Loudest Voice in the Room is the name of it, was I guess like Roger Ailes, according to this limited series, I don't know how true or not. I mean, I don't mean to be offending anyone who like Roger Ailes, because I honestly didn't know much about him.
If you liked Roger Ailes, you're probably not a great person.
Or like if you're related to him and you can't help it.
If you're related to him, I bet you know.
And so my point is that the one detail that really stuck with me and resonated with me is that he was like this theater nerd. Like he started as a theater nerd. He was not like some media mogul. I
don't remember that being part of it at all.
But this is the best part. Is that they depicted him, whether true or not, I don't know, as the guy backstage giving you unsolicited back rubs. Okay. And so my appreciation of them drawing a straight line from being the guy backstage giving actresses unsolicited back rubs to full-on sexual harassment in the workplace worth millions of dollars of like damages.
Right.
I saw it. I felt it. I appreciated it. And I applaud it. Thank you, Tommy McCarthy, who I met once, who probably won't remember, but I did.
I will say, first of all, I once did a gig, stand-up gig, where I was the, was that the middle act? I think I was the middle act, and the headliner was this like terrible hack. And then after the show was over,
yeah,
he was talking to me, like saying some condescending thing or whatever. And then he went back into the showroom where all the waitresses were, like counting out their tips and stuff. And he walked in the room yelling, "Who wants a back rub?"
Stop it. Please just say who it was.
I don't think I can remember his name.
Really?
I don't think I can remember his name. It was a long time ago. I can see the guy in my mind very clearly.
I know a part of me appreciates.
It was not somebody famous, by the way. This is not
No, I get it. But a part of me appreciates him coming in and screaming it, because you know what you're dealing. Like, you literally, like, if the guy comes in, because having waitress in a comedy club for many years, I've been there, done that. Mm-hmm. If the guy comes in and he yells, "Who wants a back rub?" you kind of feel like he's totally a harmless dork. And I'm not going to get a back rub from him.
Interesting.
But if the guy comes in and he silently creeps up behind you and starts rubbing your shoulders without consent, then you're kind of like, this guy has maybe some issues.
I see what you're saying. I still got the vibe from this guy that he was a harmful dork.
Oh, he was a harmful dork.
Not harmless, yeah. Like to yell that with such confidence. Like,
who wants about?
This is usually where I do the back rubs. But also the thing about the loudest room that bothered me, and this is often happens with.
Here we go.
This often happens with biographies, with televised biographies. You know, is that you only have the rights to that book.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And so all
it's
the other
based
people,
on that particular book.
Yeah, and he's dead. And all the other people that are still alive, they're not giving you any special permissions, or they're not giving you any insight or whatever.
Interesting. So
in order to not get in trouble or you know, avoid any legal issues in this movie, in this miniseries, they make it seem like everything was Roger Ailes' idea and execution. And along the way, people were saying, "Gee, I don't know about that, Roger. You sure?"
Well, but because that book was basically just about his trajectory, and so they filled in the blanks around him, right?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
But the way it plays is
he had no enablers.
This guy, he had no enablers. This guy somehow was able to make all these people do this thing that they thought was morally wrong.
Right.
It's like, it's absurd. It's absurd.
It's a very uncomfortable watch, by the way. So when I'm like recommending Russell Crowe's amazing performance, what I'm basically saying is you're going to be watching a very toxic workplace.
Watch this monstrous pig walking on two legs.
Groping young women and who just have to fucking pay their rent, you know?
Yeah.
And they just they went to broadcast school and they want to broadcast school is that a thing?
Yeah, broadcast school is a thing.
Still? It's not just
absolutely.
journalism major.
No. There's broadcasting school. Yeah, absolutely.
What if I decided to go back to school and then to go to broadcast? Like, what would I?
Damn. Couldn't be me.
If I were like, you need to go back to school, what would you study? I know you like languages.
What do you mean if you were like, you need... You're just ordering me back to school?
If I were like, okay, it's time.
You've skated by long enough. If you're going to live under this roof, what is the question? What would I go back for?
Yeah. What would you go back for?
Maybe a language.
Yeah, you like languages, and yet you still haven't had the time to learn a new language.
I know, man. Like, that's the thing. How am I going to go back to school? I can't even get excited to do Duolingo.
To do like a Babbel. What is it called? Babbel?
There's a bunch of them. I saw Rosetta Stone ad the other day. Made me think, that could be me.
That sucks. Because, like, you do want to learn a language.
I do. But I mean, do I want it bad enough?
I think you do. I think that you just, like, it's just a matter of priorities right now. Like, priority-wise, our lives are very...
My priority right now is staying alive.
Oh, my God. My priority right now is not going postal. Is that okay to say anymore? I don't know. Sorry. Going postal on people online because they are so stupid that I can't...
I know.
I can't deal with it. Because here's the problem. The thing with, like, where we are as a country, like, being so divided, how is it that we're all not... Okay, so we're all divided. I get it. We've all been divided. I get it. We all have pandemic fatigue. I get it. How do we not all simultaneously have our country as divided fatigue? Because I know exactly what you mean. Over it.
Yeah.
I am so over it. Like, to the point where I'm like, I don't have the brain space anymore to, like, because outrage culture is real. I get it. I want to be outraged. It's an unsustainable state of being. And it's also a tactical thing to make us weak and tired and not, whatever.
Absolutely.
So fine. Yeah. But, like, in terms of, like, okay, there's, like, the insurrectionists and the big lie and blah, 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 and everyone else. Like, how are they just like, okay, fine, it's over. Biden won.
Yeah, I know.
Like, do they not experience the fatigue of it?
I don't know. That's a good question, and I don't know. And, I mean... So much of it, I think, comes from the internet in that we're able to talk to people in a way that we never had before. There's like people that you would never talk to in a million years, that you would in person, you would never get in this argument with them. You'd realize like, oh, this is not worth it.
The one thing, my biggest pet peeve on the planet is I'm like, I know you're not blue check anymore, but people know that you're you on Twitter.
I renounced my blue check. That's correct.
But they know it's you because you have like 1 million and something.
Also, who
cares? I will say this. I'm blue check on Twitter. And the reason I'm saying that is because if I say something harmful, stupid, whatever, you might not like my jokes. That's a different story. But if I say something kind of... like I dig in on something, like whatever. Oh, hey, Quoo. What'd you think I called QQ?
Hello, QQ.
Hi, QQ. Hi, kitty. Kitty. All right. So my point is that I am presenting myself online as myself. That my identity is not hidden. And when people come at me, or bots or whoever they are or whatever they are, come at me under these like anonymous, like they don't bother to authenticate themselves online. It's not a fair conversation. There's no percentage in it. You know what I'm saying? Like now if someone is like, this is who I am, this is my blue check and this blah, blah, blah. And then that's a different story. Then you're having a conversation with someone who you know who they are. But when it's just like an anonymous person and I'm being authentically who I am, and they're getting a charge out of knowing that I'm the real person behind the avatar, then what's the point? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why it feels like authenticate yourself on Twitter, unless it's like a job thing or, cause I one time tweeted, I was like, I wish there was a social media site where everyone revealed who they were. And people were like, oh no, you'll get fired. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's probably true. Like if you work in government or something, like you can't be political. Yeah. Like I have a friend who works in public radio and it's a nonprofit. And she's not really professionally allowed to express herself politically, and that's fine. And she says who she is online and everything. She doesn't have a fake. She just follows that rule, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but like in terms of like the Twitter conversation, the conversation, like if you're making a tweet and you want to really dig in with someone, it sucks if it's just like, you're probably a AI. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Why did I get on that? Because there was something about like talking, the divisiveness.
Yeah.
The divisiveness is so apparent on these sites that it is like, I don't understand how we haven't come to like, what is it called? Like jumping the shark or whatever?
With the divisiveness?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, what I feel like is something has to happen. And I think it's the feeling that everyone is experiencing is realizing like, oh man, this is the status quo. It's been this way forever, and nothing changes. And so you have a lot of people, I think, on one side that are saying we don't want it to change, and then the other side is people saying no, it needs to change.
I understand that human impulse against change.
Sure, absolutely.
But I also think that the work is like forcing yourself into a flexible space, like not forcing, that's not the right word, but like finding a comfortability with flexibility or finding a comfortability with, just adapting. But I understand. I mean, like, I get when people are like, oh, I don't want it to be different. I want it to go back to a certain thing. That is a very human response.
Sure.
But I also think progress is so great. I mean, progress can be great.
Yeah.
Even if it changes your life in a different, I mean, you don't know the benefits of it until, I don't know. I just find it so
it's like fucking
strange.
Recycling or anything like that, where it's like, it becomes second nature, It's like you do these things that become second nature. And much the way that, people buying water in bottles became second nature, then it became second nature to not do that as much, Like I can't remember the last time I bought a bottle of water. Like to have a reusable thing or drink from a fountain or whatever you can do to not do that, the people are presented with, there's so many like minor things that we could do to make things better. And there's just people that don't like to be told what to do. And they don't see the value in this helps all of us. And I don't know what you do about that.
But that's the problem, is my personal problem with these people who don't like to be told what to do. They belong to a group or a political party, I should say, that want to dictate what I do with my body, or a trans individual does with their body,
exactly.
And so that's,
and the irony, of course, is like they're saying no one's going to tell me what to do because they heard somebody else say that.
But yet they want to tell you what to do with your body, and they want to, and they believe in the death penalty, and so they want it. They want
because somebody told them to. You know what I mean? It's the people in power that told them, here's what you believe, and they're like, yes, absolutely, because the seduction of it is, hey, these people want you to do something different, and you shouldn't have to do that because this is America, and you're free, and you don't have these people. They're going to tell you to make a sacrifice. You don't make a sacrifice. You know who made a sacrifice? World War II veterans. They made a sacrifice. You know what I mean? It's like all this. It's a bunch of bullshit.
It's propaganda.
It's propaganda. Yeah,
and like I firmly believe in personal choice. Like I get the whole like, I don't want to take the vaccine or I want to take the vaccine. But if you know the facts, I think taking the vaccine, I think it's a better choice to take. Like the choice of taking the vaccine is a better choice for the situation that we're in as a world.
Yeah.
And it's proven safe and blah, 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 blah. And so like, I don't think the personal choice part should be left out of the conversation. I just think that the thrust of the conversation is that there is a gain to making that personal choice. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the block is with people who are saying like, you can't make me what to do, so therefore I'm just not going to do it. And then they don't absorb any information surrounding it or, so I'm just like sick of that. I'm just sick of it. I don't know if I have a feeling other people out there have the same fatigue that I'm expressing right now.
It's exhausting
because I feel like we're post that now. Like we're trying to squash that thing,
I know. I just don't know how it happens. And, I think it's also a thing of, and this is what is so fatiguing about, this is part of what is so fatiguing about it.
Yeah.
Is that realizing neither side is going to cave,
I mean.
Now we see who we are.
Yeah.
And we're half this and half that as a country.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely like when you get under the microscope, obviously there's many differences even within that.
Of course.
But on the macro, it's like we're half this and we're half that.
Technically a little more half one on the side of progress. It's just our little rigged system
exactly.
It plays a little mind trick on us. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know the way out of this.
Well, obviously, it's our brave Antifa forces are going to roll through with their shiny black tanks and make everything right.
Guys, how much do you give to Antifa a month? Because I am so sick of being tithed by Antifa.
Like, on the one hand, I love what they do, and I love belonging to an organization.
I love wearing all black.
I love waving the official Antifa flag around. But is there an Antifa
flag for real?
There kind of is. Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if you put the Antifa flag in front of our house.
Oh, God. All right, we should wrap it up.
I'm sorry, this episode was a little not in my top 5. Personally, maybe
I think it was a good one.
Somebody's top 5.
I think it was a good one. As tired as I was, I think this was a good episode.
Sometimes being tired.
It's not. By the way, it's not for us to judge. It's up for the audience.
Sometimes I think being tired is what's relatable.
Right, girlfriend? Yes.
Do you know what's not relatable?
Girlfriend, you are so wrong. Do you remember Marianne Williamson?
By the way,
that's what Marianne she was going to say to the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
By the way, Marianne Williamson. First of all, I had a friend she wasn't going to vote for Marianne Williamson, but she was like, she liked the persona.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And I was like, really? Like, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I don't know much about Marianne. I know, like, a lot of times people run for president for attention, and it's not really about the greater good. Mm-hmm. And so that is like,
sometimes they get elected.
Sometimes they get elected. Sometimes that's a flaw in the system. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They should put that in writing. Like, don't do this for attention.
I don't know.
See what keeps up.
I don't know. Like, whatever. Okay, so what are your recommendations now that we're coming to the end?
I want to recommend a podcast called, and I don't think I've recommended it on the show before.
Really?
Called I Said No Gifts, which is hosted by...
Gifts or gifts?
Gifts.
Gifts.
Yes.
Not gifts that some people say gifs.
No. And don't keep saying it because it's going to put that in people's minds.
I said no gifts.
I said no gifts. And it's hosted by a very
consonant endings.
Very funny comedy writer named Bridger Weiniger. And the conceit of the show is he has somebody on the show who brings him a gift even though he told them not to do it.
What?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
but how's
really
he
funny.
Doing it through Zoom? Do they have to mail it or something?
They drop them off at his house.
Where does he live, in L.A.?
He lives in L.A. Yeah, he's based in L.A.
Do you know him?
I met him. He was a writer on Corporate when I appeared on Corporate.
Were you on his podcast?
I have not been on the podcast yet. I would not mind being a guest. Let's put that out there.
If you do,
but let me say more about the show.
I know what the gift.
I already know what the gift is.
Okay.
But we'll talk about it off air. But he is a terrific conversationalist. He's a great host, and I love his voice. He is I don't know if he's even 30 yet, but he sounds like an 85-year-old sweetheart.
Come on.
He has an extremely old-fashioned voice.
Okay.
And it's lovely to listen to. And he's it's just a conversational podcast. He has great guests on. And so I'm going to recommend that. I Said No Gifts, hosted by Bridger Weiniger. It's still the same, yes.
Gifts. Speaking of amazing voices.
Oh, me? Oh.
You do have an amazing voice. My recommendation is on HBO Max. It's a docuseries called
Oh my God, yes.
Exterminate All the Brutes. And it is a filmmaker named Raul Peck, and he did like I'm Not Your Negro, and he's like a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And so it is this 4-part docuseries essentially kind of explaining genocide and like superiority, like European superiority, and the I'm not going to do a good job of explaining what it is, because it is the biggest story I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Put to film in a way.
It's fascinating.
Do you agree?
His voice is
so he narrates it.
Yeah.
So, and also he weaves parts of his own story into this docuseries. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of documentaries. So like, I'm just very, it's a kind of thing I might have to watch more than once, because there's so much information and it's told in such a way that it is overwhelming, but also I think an awesome piece of art on top of education, because it's a history lesson about humanity.
Yeah.
And his voice is like fucking, how would you, like, he has like this deep voice that kind of, you know, like it kind of like when people have that sort of like voice boxy, like kind of simulated sound. Do you think he has that? I mean, I don't know. Like
sort of.
He has like an arresting. He has an arresting.
Gripping. There's like his voice is fairly gravelly, but it is you can't help but listen to him.
Incredibly somber cadence. Also, he's telling a very important serious story.
It's true. His voice is amazing, but it's a terrific series.
But I like the series in a way because it is an unconventional way of documentary storytelling, which this was not one of our recommendations, but we had seen a documentary earlier in the year that people were talking about called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. And it had a unconventional approach where they had done some
skits,
some dramatization. And I feel like Raul, if I can call him by his first name, kind of like basically took that convention and then some and was like, this is how you fucking do it.
Yeah.
Because like, also I felt like The Social Dilemma, I didn't agree with some of it.
Yeah. It was also, anyway, there was a lot of stuff I already knew.
But also, do you think social media is addicting, or do you think anything is addicting?
I think anything can be addicting, yeah. But I think, social media is...
So should you blame the thing?
It's designed to be that way. No, you shouldn't blame the thing. It's not It's not an addiction like fucking heroin. You know what I mean?
Well, like opioids are addicting in a physical way.
You can make yourself not look at your phone. You know what I mean?
Can you?
Yes.
Can I?
Yeah.
Because I can't.
We can do it.
I don't like it.
Let's try it for a week. Let's try to like set limits on, like hard limits on phone.
Okay.
And see how we do.
Also, by the way, there's a new Alex Gibney coming out on HBO as well about the opioid addiction. I think it's called like The World's Biggest Crime or something like that. I'm a huge Alex Gibney fan. I love everything he does. I've watched a lot of anything he's been a part of. Maybe not everything, because it's a lot.
But a lot.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know about, like, addiction is so mysterious. So anyway, The Social Dilemma was made some points. Like I agreed with some of it.
Yes, but look, its time has passed. Now we're
Exterminate all the brutes.
Exterminate all the brutes.
Check it out if you have HBO Max, and if you don't, like try to look for it in other platforms and see if you can watch it. I thought it was good. Maybe people don't like documentary, but that's where I am. That's one of my recommendations.
Check it out. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Don't forget you can buy merch at kinshipgoods.com. They're reopened in West Virginia, which is great.
By the way, we're going to West Virginia in July for my cousin's memorial. And I hope that we get to visit Kinship Goods in person.
That would be cool. We should stop in.
By the way, they were on MSNBC. I retweeted.
I saw that. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
We are at stayfhomekins on Twitter and Instagram, stayfhomekins@gmail.com if you'd like to write us a letter.
We read everything, by the way, and I screen cap and send to Paul because he doesn't log in. But
sometimes I'm in the other room. And we'll be back.
We really do appreciate it.
We really do. And we'll be back next week. And until then, stay safe, stay sane, and stay strong.
Oh, let's start over.
We'll try out different ones until we arrive on one we like. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay strong.